All right. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 at 7:38 p.m. This is our first, no, it's not our first meeting. It's our second meeting with the architects, but first official meeting since signing the contract to go over plans for the pool, specifically the bathhouse. In attendance tonight, we have Councilperson Grant, we have Mayor Souther, we have Councilperson Koss, we have Councilperson Martin, Councilperson Pinter, myself, Council President Camera. We have several members of the village here, so Barb and Brian, and then we have our fiscal officer, Mr. Wilczek. So, and of course,
I'm Nancy
Yes,
Nozick
Nancy.
from Branstad
Thank you.
Carroll.
Hi, Nancy.
Perfect.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, hi everybody.
Sitting in the front. I hate you. I hate
Yeah.
you too. It's on record.
Oh, those are harsh words.
Hey, shh.
Let's go.
Couple of quick items. Tiffany just looked at the county auditor's website. That building that exists right now is claimed to be 700 square feet.
Really?
I know, I
So-
thought we found, I don't know if we just thought
Our
that's
county
what.
auditor,
What
he's
Nancy
it's wrong
presented
all the
earlier,
time. We got
the
him.
first meeting,
I know, it says 14 by 50.
1,500 square foot building,
Does
that's
that
more
count
than
for
double,
regular?
and that stays within our budget. Given the fees for the permits and the architect, we've got $600,000 to construct the bathhouse. So we've got to stay focused on staying within that budget and on that bathhouse. I know there's desires for other things down the road,
Correct.
but that's down the road.
Correct.
So, okay.
Okay, so I'm sending a sign-in sheet around because those introductions were way too fast for me.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
So that we'll know who's there. So most of you have, this is a draft schedule, but it's detailed enough that it actually is going to kind of act as our agenda for this first meeting here as well. So this is a kickoff meeting for this project. So we try to just kind of set the groundwork, understand what we're doing, but I also brought a lot of kind of design inspiration and things to look at what you've looked at before, what you want. I really want to get as much of the dreaming done as we can so that we can really hit the ground running. So if we look at this draft schedule, it's going to do a couple things. It's going to give us a timeline, and it's going to give us kind of our scope and how we're going to work and what we're going to do. So I'm just going to run through this. Not too much detail, but just kind of hit it so we all understand. So we are here today at the kickoff meeting. So the things we want to, what I'd like to do today, review the project scope, this schedule. I have some design inspiration. I'd like to talk about the building program, some of the details in the program, and also we've discussed doing some level of community engagement. So I'd also like to talk about what that means to you, when we think we do that, how we do that. So then if we go on with the schedule, we're starting in what we call the concept phase. In our proposal, we kind of looked at that was kind of September, October, or the beginning of October, we're just starting. So this is kind of, October through like the first week of November, probably what I've outlined here. So after today's meeting, we're going to spend some time. We are going to solicit a topographic survey. I've got that drafted. I have several people I can send that out to get proposals. What I really would like to do, what's going to serve you best, is to do the entire property. Then you have that moving forward. So when you do, in a year or two, start looking at the pool, you have that accurate site survey of the whole property. I'm going to ask them to do a more limited area as well, just so you know the difference in cost. I don't want it to become a cost factor that you can't get the whole property surveyed. So we're going to do that. And then we also are going to need a couple geotechnical borings as we start designing the pool house so that we know what the dirt's like, so we know what our foundation system needs to be. So I'm going to get that solicitation out as well. And then we have an initial design. We kind of showed something at the interview. I've revised it a little bit, but it's just a starting point, a talking point today. So we're going to kind of work through and refine that a little bit based on what we discussed today. And then anticipating that we will get back together that kind of first week of November, second week of November, and have some costs put to that, even though it's just a concept. Kind of reiterate what all we talked about, look at some actual design, what it might look like, and have some cost to it. Then maybe that's the point in time for community engagement. Maybe it happens a little later. We kind of said that might be when it happens. It might be an open house. I think we can talk about how we want to engage the public, and we can kind of decide as we go through the process, are we ready, are we not ready? You know, we want to make sure that we're all ready with enough information to get the right kind of feedback. So I kind of threw that in there. Then we move from that to what we call preliminary design, which develops that concept into actual building plans, sections, elevations, details, materials, what the mechanical systems are, the structural system, all of that. Update some renderings at that point with anything that's changed. And I've got two kind of meetings scheduled potentially within that time frame of the preliminary design. Then at the end of preliminary design, we have kind of all of the questions answered. And then we just put our construction documents together, which is the drawings and specifications that the contractor will build from and we will submit for permits. So there's a lot more detail in there and the costs get updated. And we talked about issuing those to you for review at 60% complete and 90% complete, and then we wrap it up. I added in the schedule here and I worked around these. You have to throw dates out just so you start somewhere. So I got a bunch of dates on here, but assuming that we might need to go to council to get approval to go for bid. So I targeted a date in here for that. Then after we go out for bid, targeting another council meeting for approval of that bid and to award the construction contract, and then construction. So this gets us, if you look at this, gets us going out for bid in May of 2026, and then being able to start construction towards the mid to end of August 2026, which gets us open for the 2027 season. So we will kind of maintain this, and if these dates change a little bit, we will update this as we go through. But this kind of outlines the process that we anticipate going through, the scope of work that we're going to be doing, and when and how this happens. Are there any questions?
I love this.
Does anybody need another piece? You didn't get one. Do you want one?
Actually,
I needed to read off of it, so. Oh, you put it here?
Yeah, last.
It's like, family style and you lose your fork.
Yeah.
Does anybody else need one? No? Okay. All right. So, where to start? Let's start with what you have done so far. So you had a study done that looked at the whole pool and the pool house by MKSK. So this is from the report that they had. This was up in the front of the report, so I'm assuming that this was kind of the recommended at the end of the report where we end up with. Really looking at how we're expanding the pool, but it also addressed a new pump room and new pool house and then a community building. And we talked in the meeting, in the interview, about allowing for future development of some more community spaces there, knowing we can't afford this right now, but we want to make sure that we're planning for the future. So there were several different options that were looked at when you worked with MKSK, and they have a variety of different placements of the buildings, the bathhouse, the event center, and things like that. So my first question is, while it looks like this is what you ended up with, are there things from any of these concepts that you really liked and things that you really didn't like, so that we can utilize any of that feedback?
Jason, you're up.
Yeah, well, I chaired that committee, so I'm kind of the one that had the group together. I'm trying to think who else David was on mine, and, no, well, I'm thinking from council, who was on the Parks and Rec, or Recs and Park. And
I know
JP.
everything on the back end.
So,
I'm on the
We started off, the ones on the left side were like
Too expensive.
every wish item that we wanted, right? So
Yeah.
on the left.
Okay.
And then
And we
they
could-
came back with estimated pricing for us and it was like, no, that, you
Yeah,
know,
oh yeah.
we understand, that's too much. There were discussions about how one giant pool is easier to, maintain than separate pools. It's less equipment, things like that. Some efficiencies with, the transitions from, a diving end to, you know, whatever, that's water that we're conditioning that's not useful space sometimes. And so, yeah, that's how we ended up where we are. So it was one giant pool, it had the swim lanes in it, it had, diving boards that could be pulled up,
Yeah,
out of the way if we needed to.
yeah.
It has a zero entry family pool, and then it's got kind of that 3 or 4 foot deep, I think that's K or H, I can't really
Yeah,
tell from
H.
here.
Yeah, plus pool.
That is kind of the slide area.
And then you kind of, was
Yep.
this kind of configuration of
Yeah,
pool house?
we went through different configurations of it.
Yeah.
No one was really set in stone, but we didn't wanna, the size of the community room, it needed to be something that could be used with or without the pool.
Right.
So during the summer times, it would be nice to have it with a pool event type things. So our community association that's meeting in the next room uses it a lot during the summertime for their activities that benefit the community. And a lot of times they're at the mercy because we have no covering really of any sort. If it rains, like they have to reschedule it. It doesn't go well for pool rentals when you don't have a backup space. Or anything covered. It's also difficult because at those meetings, it's a lot of food. They call it sip and dip, so it's a lot of, used to be wine and cheese, but it's gotten a lot more elaborate over the years. And so you can't even cook food down there, really. So that's kind of where that space came in. And then also understanding that this space really serves a purpose as a municipal space and not a party room. And can we have something that, you know, every time we rent this space out, there's a fear of what broke or what got stained or, you know, what hole got in a wall. And if we could build a space that could be a little more,
Low maintenance.
yeah, lower maintenance and a little more, I don't want to say indestructible, but you know what I'm saying. Plus, I think the other thing is, I think we have 27 parking spaces here. It's hard to have a lot of people with only 27 spaces.
Yeah, I
Where,
go way down.
yeah, whereas with this one that's estimated at 81 on one of these drawings, I mean, that's a whole ton of different people. So that's where that space came in. And I'll be honest, there were a lot of people from that association that were on the pool committee because they have invested in the pool for a long time and they held an interest in it. And so most of that committee were people that, you know, had a vested interest in the pool. As a subcommittee, technically, no other council person was supposed to be on it but myself, but I would always report back to council, so.
Do you anticipate that being a year-round space?
That was
That's our hope.
the hope, yeah. Which was part of the reason why it became more of a separated building. So that it could have heat and air conditioning in it. It's, personally, it's hard for me to justify that land for 3 months use of the year. And it's like, what can we do for the other 9 months?
Right.
You know,
Jason, think about it, like, it's, what, the middle of October, and it was still prime
Right.
time to be outside and things like that, and that's a time that
Mhm.
we could have used at least something.
yeah,
So, yeah, we would like to expand the pool season in one way or another, be it with a separate event space or something. So make it a little bit more multi-purpose, I guess, is what we're trying to say.
yeah.
Well, and it would make sense, I guess, we talked about the fact that you have more land than you're using right now.
Correct.
And it would make sense to me that that community function
Mhm.
have some space outside the pool, outside the pool fence.
Right.
Because then you can Yeah, even if the weather's great, you might not have guards, you don't necessarily want it
Right.
to always open onto the
Right.
pool, but to open onto another yard space, public space, I would recommend that you have access to green space.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why there's that kind of little garden area on the one side of it,
Yeah.
you know.
Make
And
it
again,
well shaped.
this is concept art, right?
Right.
Nothing was finalized on it.
And again, we're not doing that right now.
I know.
I know that
Right.
completely.
Right.
But we should plan for it.
Right.
If we can take this another step further as we're developing just the pool house, so that at least we're not,
Right,
It's cohesive, yeah.
yeah, and you don't go to the next, oh man, why did we do this?
right.
Yeah.
Because now we want to do something completely
Oh, I
different.
hate that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
the challenge is going to be, who knows what you're going to do with this?
Right,
But you have to work within what's there today,
Right.
now, and for
Right.
however long. So, that's the challenge. It's not a problem, it's kind of a good challenge.
let me throw one or two other things in on
Okay.
that particular one.
Yeah,
You'll notice that long drive that's kind of behind the pump house?
yes.
That was, the thought behind that was for food trucks, possibly bringing in food trucks and having a place for them to park either inside or outside of the grounds. Now, the location of the pump house, it never got into the final drawings, but that was more supposed to be in line with the zero entry pool.
Like down here?
Nope, down to,
Oh, is that normal?
up
Towards
to,
J.
yeah, towards J. That's in that area, with the thought of it having like a concrete pad in front of it, so that if we show movies there, our thought was that it's nice to have a spot where a band could set up, so like a little porch on the front of it kind of thing. Or a projector screen could come down
Yeah.
and you could sit in the pool and watch a
Wall,
movie, or
Yeah.
sit in the water and watch a movie. We experimented with some things over the year where we brought bands in at night, we did movie nights in the water, and, things could just make it better.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have to be in the front,
right.
is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
I think that covered everything. The basketball court was a highlight, like, people love the basketball court, yep, that's letter M, that's on there, that's where it currently sits. And so that, yeah,
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It doesn't.
I think my personal thoughts on things that are missing are maybe some kind of gazebo-ish spaces, some covered areas for birthday parties or something like that. Again, I think that's down the road. I don't know that that's here when we do it, but
Yeah,
But
that's
I wanna
part
put
of
that in
the
the
pool.
back.
Large shade structures.
Yeah.
that
I
you
mean,
can rent out.
honestly, even something similar to the pavilion that we built, maybe not even that big, but something like that, that's covered, that has a plug in it, some electrical.
So I guess,
That was a
are
setback.
you
I think
asking
that
like
was
how are we
setback.
gonna use the rest of the land?
No, I just want to get a feel for where we're going. We're going to focus in on the pool house, but I want to understand.
I think we're trying to do everything with a more than one use
Yeah.
intention. So
Yeah.
everything should be multi-purpose, can convert it into something, have an idea, we can do this, we can do that. We're trying to make it expand our horizons as much as we can with the budget that we have, but make it as, what is that? Oh, what's that word? Like the IKEA,
Not modular, but.
modular, yeah.
Modular, yeah.
We want everything a little modular, if you will. A little, okay, we can do this, we can do that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
I do think that having a covered shelter that can still be used outside of the pool hours is one of our biggest priorities. And for that to be connected to the bathhouse so that we do have access to these bathrooms year-round. So a rough-in for that is cohesive in a phase 2, if you will, is one of our biggest things on the wish list for the bathhouse.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to be the biggest challenge
Yeah.
here is we have to think inside the pool fence, outside the pool fence. Because if you've got a year-round use for a community room, you need restrooms.
Yeah.
So And they need to be year-round, so it makes more sense for them to be part of this facility. But we can also look at, do we want, again, because, the cheapest way to do this is gonna be a seasonal building.
Yeah.
For the money you
So-
have, this needs to be a seasonal building.
So,
So it makes sense in the future that you deal with something that's year-round, but also understanding that if you wanna access anything that's in here,
Yeah.
and
When you
the
say
pool's closed,
seasonal-
you need to,
When
seasonal
you say
is someone-
seasonal building, do you, that would include the bathrooms then, right? You wouldn't be able to use those in the winter?
That's what we would recommend for the pool house,
yeah,
like you have now.
and I think that's,
Drain it, close it down for the winter.
I think that's kind of what I recommended or talked about last week when I,
To make it,
so,
But doesn't that change our concept here though? Because you'd have to make another set of bathrooms?
You'd have to make another set of bathrooms.
but,
Now,
but what are the requirements around those bathrooms? I mean, can it just be two, can it be like what we have here, just two like kind of unisex stalls?
run the
kind of?
numbers on how many people.
yeah, but
Okay.
bathrooms are so expensive per square foot.
Yeah. So we can also run the numbers of, all right, what if we did this bathhouse today for our $600,000? Can we afford
To do it.
to winterize it, And even if you're only using just the bathrooms year-round, and you just have some, baseboard heats, something very simple, how's that gonna affect the cost?
I think that's something we would be interested in.
I think we should
Just to
explore it,
at
just
least
so we know, yeah.
And then I think that would really affect our planning. So I think
I'll tell you-
a piece of information.
I'll tell you one thing I brought up the other day. Well, no, never mind. You keep
Well, I
going.
don't feel like you need to do it here.
No, I
agree.
will,
Okay.
I will.
No, I mean like in this part, since we're talking about the two buildings.
Okay,
I think this is
So-
a great segue to that.
so one thing I proposed,
Reading his mind, you know what he's gonna say?
yeah, because I
Yes,
brought it up,
Yes.
I brought it up to council the other
Yeah, I
day.
brought it up the other night, since we're talking about. the
Just
two
because I
buildings and
wanted people to
bathrooms.
think about it. I feel like you're gonna talk about this, but
Okay.
I think in the original drawings that you showed us, I was a little worried that the number of, that we were limiting, the conversation was around, you have to have so many toilets
Yeah.
for the square footage, right?
Right.
And I want to make sure that we're not building something too small so that we can't build something that we really want down the road. So I recommended to council, what if we don't put a concession stand in this building to begin with, so that we can make something a little bigger, it's just restrooms with the showers and a front office. And then the breezeway, if we put one in, could be that separation between this other new building, which could have the concession stand, the community space and all that. So we would try to find something temporary. I recommended those pods that we're not gonna be using because we'll have our new maintenance house. Let's convert a pod over to a concession stand for a summer or two.
Or just
Or
convince a food truck.
something, right,
Just a food truck.
yeah,
That'll be
yeah, find a food truck that doesn't drive anymore or something, I don't know.
Yeah, Nadado's just relocate.
Or JP can just cook it from his kitchen.
Yeah, there you go, JP's house, the new
So,
concession stand.
his house is right next door to the pool, so.
Tony's better, well, I can't say Tony's.
Oh,
better.
Tony's closer, he's a good grill guy, so there we go. We're all
Tony's hot
set,
dogs.
we're all set.
About the concession, okay, let me,
Okay.
I was thinking about this for the last couple of days,
Yeah,
and about the concession stand, I grew up with the concession stand, I live right next door, so I feel like we need that in the time being. Not that throwing a trailer over there, would be a bad idea, but I just think, maybe now,
It's a temporary sacrifice.
Right.
Where it's like, hey, we're getting our kitchen remodeled, so you're gonna have to cook in the bathroom for like
right,
20 bucks.
yeah, you're gonna have to use the little tabletop stove
Yeah.
for a little while until you can get your oven installed.
Yeah.
And I think the
Well,
only.
the other thing we need to talk about with concessions is what are we selling in concessions?
And, yeah, that's a whole
Any
other
kitchen
thing,
you design, you start with the menu.
yes.
So, in your heads, what's,
Microwave hot dogs, nachos.
Sir,
we used to
whatever
have,
Bridge Park, not Bridge Park, whatever Jerome
Oh.
Village is doing, that's what we want.
That's gonna be another whole story, but yes,
the outline of what we used to have was vending machines in that little area, and then it kind of got escalated to, there was pretzels, there was pizzas, hot dogs, and there was a lady kind of working behind there, or one of the residents from her park. And then maybe somewhere around the 2000s, it changed entirely back to vending machines, and Jason had this wonderful idea, the soggy, or.
Okay,
Yeah.
short answer is we have no idea.
Okay,
Going back to this real quick, I just want to preface something. So knowing our budget and being realistic on this, we talked about this earlier in the pool, we had like different phases, for example. Phase one is obviously this, what do you guys call it again?
Bathhouse.
Bathhouse. Once this is over with, we can focus on phase two is the pool, because without that pool, this is pointless.
right.
Mhm.
Phase three was gonna be the event center.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know the timeline on that, but this is why I think the bathhouse is the most important part to do this now, and prepare in the sense that we don't know what the future holds, if we'll even
Right.
have money, so.
Right,
That's the whole point of all of this.
Right, but I'm just talking out loud.
yeah.
Okay, I think, guys,
Hold on,
okay,
hold
can we get back on track? Where are we with, do we want to sacrifice a concession stand and in lieu, maybe winterize our bathrooms?
So, only thing I wanna say is get back to your point. If this is a seasonal bathroom, that changes a lot of concepts, in my opinion.
Okay,
That's
If
what
we don't-
started with.
If we don't wanna put a concession stand in now, that means we put a concession stand in later, and potentially bathrooms. It's a lot of money.
well, and
And,
so I think what compromise we're looking at is, can we do more larger bathrooms, more plumbing fixtures, and maybe winterize them?
And
So that then the next phase, you're dealing with concessions. You already have your bathrooms winterized, and then if you deal with your event center, you have those, but again, in planning this first thing, we need to think down the road
Right.
so that we're accommodating that when it comes down there. So it may seem like, we'll deal with that later. I'd rather at least have an idea now. So what I was getting at with your concessions, if you're doing more just off the shelf, the hot dog, pretzels, pizza, those are what we call countertop equipment. You're not cooking them, you're heating, they're warming things. They're things you plug in, so you can, that's a certain level of
Yeah.
service. But you could easily have, prepackaged and drinks and stuff like that you're just doing off of the deck, you could have it under a tent. There's ways, you need a place to store that stuff, lock it up at night, but there are some ways that I think you could provide, that's a step up from a vending machine. You can also do vending machines.
Currently, we have a Class 2 food license, so everything's prepackaged. We
Yep.
can't cook anything. We don't have the 3 cleaning sinks.
Yep.
We just have a hand washing sink.
Yep.
You've seen this space.
Yep.
It's mostly ice cream. The drinks, technically, we don't even have to keep them refrigerated. We have a refrigerator there. It's not commercial. We can
Yeah.
only keep drinks in it.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
chips
think
and
there are
stuff.
some things that
So,
we can look at, compromise.
Yes, and we were serving things that you can heat up. We can't heat them up. We can provide them a microwave to heat them up in, but we cannot heat them up for them. We even purchased like a cheese warmer for the nacho cheese.
Yeah,
No,
they won't let you do
No.
that under a class 2.
no, not under class
We weren't
2.
even allowed to
So-
sell like pizza that was
Yeah.
like from Jets or something like
Yeah.
that. We're not allowed to do
So I think we would like to move up to that level 3, which means
Yeah.
we have to have the 3 sinks,
compartment
you
sink,
know, and, now, are we gonna fry french fries or put a pizza oven in? Probably not.
My kids want it.
Um,
It would make my life a lot easier.
but, I
Have you
think,
seen them? They're trying to eat all.
I think realistically, things like a pretzel warmer type thing, again, heating up those nachos, popcorn,
Can't do it.
This is a choking hazard.
Clogs the drains.
no, this is state-of-the-art new pools, so we're fine, these
Okay,
filters are
so we've
amazing.
got it, right.
Yes,
Class
So
3.
we've got an idea.
yes.
There's some options we want to look at. Maybe we don't get a concession now. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well,
And then how would we do it later? What does that mean?
and this is, I'm a big dreamer. Jason has wonderful ideas on what the pool could be. Here's my fears and worries and why I want to be more realistic. What about 5 years from now, we can't have our event center? Like, this is it right here. This is why I think whatever we have right now should be the focus on making that, but just
But
better.
But then
And then we
again-
can come back to the event center on the third phase.
I think we could take one of those pods and convert it pretty easily, just run some electrical in it, you know?
Nancy designs this beautiful, what do you call it, 1960s vibe?
You can put some
But
lips,
that's just, we need,
But then
okay,
you
so
go-
here's the thing, back up on that. For ADA, if we are dealing with outdated bathrooms, in order to move forward with the pool, we have to update our bathroom requirements first. That's why we started with this first.
Right.
You have to put the horse before the cart when it comes to that. You have to focus on bathrooms. If we can't afford a concession stand that we want, well, maybe we wait on that so we can have the nice bathrooms, so we can move forward with an actual project and have a different budget for that. So like, you have to think of it as like, we're breaking up in pieces, and it's like, okay, well, where do I start with this? You have to start with this piece, because that is the one that is keeping you from moving forward. That is your like, key
Just
piece.
out of curiosity, how big do you want the bathroom to be?
I want it to be big enough where I can fit in a stall, if, with my 2 kids, or a mom can fit in there.
yeah.
That's super important. I think it needs to be, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it needs to be winterized. I think that would change anything for the future. I think planning for the future, that's probably
Yeah.
better bang for your buck, to be honest.
And-
But
and
I
I-
don't know how many, based on how big the pool is. I think probably 3 stalls is at a minimum
Yeah.
per side. I almost want to do 4, but bigger, like family-sized ones, that there's more room to turn around. Because the problem is not only are you just going to the bathroom in those stalls, like, you're changing your kids in those stalls, and like, it has to be big enough that, like, you can fit them in there, but not big enough that they can, like, run away, you know what I mean? But like, it has to be spacious enough that it almost doubles as a dressing room, or changing room.
We have a lot of older not even residents, older people using our pool right now. And
Yeah.
remember, just installing those rails
So
in the
exciting.
bathroom went a long way.
Like in the women's restroom, 3 or 4 stalls is probably like kind of realistic for the size.
I mean, we talked about it. I think we said minimum 3. If we could get them to be a little bit more spacious.
Yeah.
There's lots of other options.
I feel like
so
we're jumping ahead,
Hold
but-
off on that. First,
Yeah.
we're trying to decide, what do we think are our wants and needs realistically, like what are our non-negotiables too? So I really think it's like, I think Jason's right. I don't know if that concession stand is mandatory at this point or a need. I think we can kind of sacrifice that for a better bathroom
I think we can
situation.
find a solution for a
And really,
temporary
at the moment, I was
solution.
like, why don't we just get
Great
rid of food
to
trucks?
talk about, but I don't necessarily, I think that's too far ahead, because I'm looking at financial stuff, like, this is already a stretch.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's gonna look like, because for funding wise, I don't know if they're gonna shut down Hawthorne Elementary with budget cuts. If levies, I mean, but I'm just trying to be realistic, like, we're on unprecedented times, and this won't last forever. It could drastically shift, so I worry about thinking about bathrooms, and I worry about spending 600,000, 700, whatever, and then we don't have what we had before we started this thing.
No, you're absolutely right, and that was a concern that we discussed, but we can't, I think this is in an impasse in a way, because without this, we don't even have the potential for a new pool.
And
I don't want to
Yeah.
sacrifice bathrooms or concession stand for bigger bathrooms, I just don't. We need to be smart and think
But
about
like,
it,
you
that we can't
don't,
ever have.
but like, you have to give me a better justification than I just don't.
I am, I'm trying to tell you,
Yeah.
we need to think in the future, like what Tommy said, what about if we can't afford the pool?
having what we have now, but
Yeah,
just
exactly.
modernized, period.
Right, so, okay, so like,
So
to
maybe
me,
we can
I
spend
would-
500,000 on it.
Yeah.
right, but like, is a concession stand, like, bring some stuff from home, like, this isn't mandatory. Invite, hey, we didn't have a concession stand where I grew up, the ice
That's
cream
where you
truck.
grew up. This is Minerva Park, this is where I grew
Let
up.
her talk to me.
What,
I'm saying.
JP, shh,
Don't do that, don't be.
Hold on,
seriously.
hold on,
you're
hold on.
interrupting me.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
interrupting me
No,
when I'm
don't talk
talking.
to me, don't talk to me like a parent.
Then don't interrupt me when I'm
Don't
telling
talk
the
like that.
story.
I'm
All right,
not-
all right,
hold on,
okay,
hold on.
enough.
Alright,
All they had was basically the beginnings of a food truck, which was a ice cream truck that would come at 10 and at 2, and all the kids knew, and they would line up, and everybody was prepared. And they had the ice cream, and they had the drinks, and everything else. I think there's a lot of ways around that, like, we must have a concession stand mentality, where I think there's ways around it. There's so many food trucks nowadays. There's DoorDash, you name it. There's so many ways to get food to the pool. I don't know if a concession stand
Well,
for that price makes that much
part-
sense.
I'm not here an
Part of-
outsider, and you come to this
Hold-
neighborhood. you think
Excuse me?
you know
Hold
better.
on, JP,
No,
JP,
seriously.
hold on,
you need to stop.
hold on.
It's not really, it's not,
Yeah.
like, we're just talking about
So
ideas.
look, part of this is that we have community engagement. So why don't we table that
Yeah,
part
'cause
of it
people could come in and they go,
until,
you know what, that sounds like a great idea, winterized bathrooms, I can't believe you thought of it. I hate the concession stand, and if those are the vocal people that talk about it, then
Fair enough.
it's worth consideration.
let's
So we
broaden,
can
Broaden-
show options.
Yes.
We can have a concept
yeah,
with concessions,
Yeah.
and smaller restrooms, or you have a concept with bigger, whatever we do, the thing is, whatever we show, we wanna make sure it's within our budget.
right.
So we need to come up with things like that. Let me, this might help some of this. So we just took, again, I didn't want to spend too much effort on this till we talked. But this is kind of what we showed in the interview, which we just threw out there blank, except I moved a few things around in looking at, how we might do a future community room. We talked about this entry, in the interview, we had the entry like a breezeway piece.
Right.
We said, if
Yeah.
we move that to the end, then that becomes the hinge for whatever might happen in the future.
Yeah.
So this kind of flipped things around from what I showed you last time. You want to have kind of the check-in and guard room adjacent to your entry, but we'll talk about that a little more. And so we put kind of the bathrooms down here. And the other thing is looking at where we are. If we're trying to stay in, no, this is going to be here. The existing pool is going to be here. So, and the top pool is going to be here. So we can't build something down here.
Right.
Who just-
Ideally, you want to come into the pool complex and come in near the shallow end or come in towards the pool. This already, if we do this and we plan for some event space in the future over here, then we've kind of pushed our entry, it might be fine, to kind of this green space. We could flip it and have the entry over here,
Yeah.
but then you're saying in the future, we're gonna do a community space and the pool's gonna be completely different. And that might be fine, that might be fine. But just trying to get some of that stuff in.
It's
What I'm hearing is, the other thing we can do, we're showing one family restroom in here. We can do multiple family restrooms. And that becomes your companion, that becomes your dad and daughter, that becomes your older person who needs assistance, mom with all the kids. And they don't all have, we're showing one shower in each of these multi-use restrooms and one shower in the family room. We don't have to do a shower in every family room. We could do, 3 family rooms and then these could be a little bit smaller. It just gives you more flexibility.
Can we not just use those, take out the shower and leave those as just changing rooms?
Yes.
Yeah, we could.
Or,
We could.
So then you have the best of both worlds. You have the family one, you have the 2 stalls, and then you still have the changing room, so you don't feel like you're stuck in.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is perfect with minus the showers.
I don't know, Tiffany, I almost don't even want that too, because I feel like that space you can put a toilet in and have more room for.
Yeah, I mean, if you just did a larger bathroom for
Like a-
like,
like handicap.
like,
It's
yeah,
like, why can't you change in a bathroom, but you can't pee in a changing room,
right.
hopefully.
But some of the handicap ones you go into, right, have the little sink and
Yeah, you could
the
do that.
changing
You
thing.
could do
and-
this, one down at the end that's a toilet and a sink and larger, even within
Is-
here, and then we could still have.
Are you seeing a necessity for the family bathroom though? I'm just asking, because
Yeah, it's not a code requirement
Right.
yet, but it's best practice.
Gotcha.
We
Have
did,
this one.
we did these out here that way for a reason, so we didn't have to get involved in, I don't wanna use the word political or this or that. It's an option for somebody to use that is not a traditional male or female.
That makes sense.
And
But it serves a way more purpose than that, especially.
I agree, but
Especially-
we chose to go that direction for
I'll
for
tell
other
you,
reasons.
when I toured the Athens pool, they have a family restroom and they were, it was right before pool season, they were actually taking out the changing table that was in there, the small changing table, and installing an adult changing
Yes,
table.
that's another.
Because they just had a lot of need for that in that area, so,
Yeah. Trust me, I love family bathrooms when my
Yeah.
kids were younger, but I was just asking in general.
right.
Yeah.
We're doing, in almost, well, I don't know if it's just a thing up in Northeast Ohio, but there's grant money available for those adult changing tables. It's about $10,000.
Did you hear that?
Mhm.
By the time you get the table and the power that has to go to it, It's about a $10,000 hit to put an adult changing table in a restroom. And you need to build the restroom bigger because you have to have all the clearances and all that stuff. But we're doing a courthouse, and we have one restroom that has some family. We're doing, park restrooms, and they have a grant for an adult changing table, so we've got to make room for it.
On your first diagram, and it may be over there, but either way, you had the check-in stuff in the guard room on that side.
Yeah.
But then you had a breezeway, right?
Right. I
So,
just move things around, that's all.
you had the concession stand on this side. So if we ever went to a community room, one of the things I liked about that is the concession it ends up being the east side of the building. If you have that on the east side of the building, then you can build off of that,
Yeah.
using that concession stand for whatever you
This
wanna
was
build.
on the end, and the end.
I thought that was fantastic in that sense, because now don't have the breezeway and then have the entrance, so you're just flipping that guard room over to
Yeah.
that side. That allows you more of the entrance to the main pool area, which you mentioned. The bathrooms are kind of centered, right? The only question I had really on the first one had everything to do with the size of the concession stand.
Yeah,
Because honestly, that's pretty big. Looks like a little smaller on this one, but,
it's exactly the same.
yeah, gotcha. But it just
We had,
seems,
I had a third window over here on the last one.
yeah. Right, which would help, again.
This is your 3 compartments, and again, your hand sink,
Yeah.
and then there's room for stuff.
And that's why, I know Jason had came up with a fresh idea. I still like the idea of, if we're ever gonna build off of, we have the concession stand now. But I didn't realize that, the winterization, which I'm assuming is gonna cost a lot of money.
It costs more.
Yeah, and when we talk, and we don't have to talk about it now, but winterization for how many events are you gonna have in that 9 months? So the cost benefit analysis is not gonna show very good there.
Well, and
And-
without a community room at all, there's no events there in the winter.
That's fair.
So-
And so, right, so that, let's say
Yeah.
even it's 5 years off, let's say we do have it in the plans, we have the money, whatever. The problem is, you're paying a lot of money to winterize that building. I don't know, that's the only reason that, like, from a concession standpoint, I'm like, well, and then that goes back to some of the fiscal stuff, right? Because the question I would have in general about the concession stand is, do we need it at all? Because frankly, if it's not put us in the, if we're still in the red no matter what, and I don't mean to be negative on that, but it's just, it's a concept that really you have to think about.
So the other thing, from an operations standpoint, if you can afford it, and we insulate it and allow for the heat, you don't have to open it year-round, you don't have to heat it, from an
True.
operating standpoint, from a
True.
utility cost standpoint, until you need to.
Right.
But then at least you have it there and you're ready for it.
Is there a winterization process or anything? I'm asking.
They usually kind of drain down the
Put
line lines,
antifreeze in the toilet.
take the caps off toilets and stuff like that.
So you would have
You
to,
probably do that now.
I do,
Yeah.
for my camper, but,
Brian does it.
no, Brian.
Well,
I know.
that's another can of worms, but let's just say, some of the expense of operating the concession stand is staffing.
Yeah.
Could a front desk person also work a concession stand?
Yeah.
Because we basically have a 15-minute window where we're selling stuff and 45 minutes where we're not.
And you had that.
That tends to be the trend,
You kind of had
right?
that last year, right?
You know?
Not this year.
That's a good point.
I think we
That's a great
rotate our guards, but what are the requirements around breaks for them? Can someone that's not in a guard chair be working on the clock? We are paying them. I'm sure they're not clocking out for that 15 minutes they're not in a chair. Can they be sitting behind
Yeah.
a concession stand, ringing out?
Each hour, a different person does it.
Yeah. Is it a door between
Yeah,
the two
yeah.
rooms
Yeah.
where someone can?
Or in here or something, so.
I'm just throwing out some
Yeah.
suggestions. I don't know.
Yeah.
That
Again,
would save money.
flexibility,
Yeah.
modular,
Right.
however you say it, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I guess the thing to talk about is, this is like the easiest, straightforward, okay, here's where the pool house is now, so this is where it's gonna go, and everybody knows where it is, blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing to say this couldn't be over here, depending on how you wanna do the pool. Now, we always like people to enter towards the shallow end, you don't wanna enter to the deep end of the pool, but, you know, I don't want to limit our thinking necessarily that, oh, this has to be here,
Yeah.
this is where it is now.
Well, if the entrance was
So-
flipped, it would be to the shallow, and it would be to the
Right.
kiddie pool too.
Right,
All right.
your future pool can do whatever it wants to do.
Just a thought, this is me spitballing right here. What if that whole building turned so that it was the short edge, and then the community space could back up to it?
Right.
Like an L shape?
You see
No,
that?
I'm thinking a giant square,
Yeah.
and we build half of that square, which is the front entrance, and then the other half of the square is it's technically not a square, more of a rectangle.
The reason why that's positive is because at sporting events, typically they'll have bathroom doors on both sides.
Right,
And sometimes it's back to a facility or
Right.
some sort.
Right.
Yeah, you could have, you could access, you
Yeah,
know,
so-
so we do that sometimes where we have restrooms that you enter from this
Right.
side, that are
Right.
separate from restrooms you enter
Right.
from that side.
Which is positive, right, cause then
Right.
you're able to utilize it
Yep.
differently, but, so Jason's saying flip that, I don't know exactly, but, and then put the community building on
You're
the
saying
backside, flip it,
this
yep,
over
yeah,
here,
something
make
like
Right.
it more of a
Yeah.
square.
yeah.
Where are you gonna put the, just go left afterwards?
It would be one giant building where we build half of the building at one time and the other half down the road. Or half unfinished.
Forever.
Can't afford to build the other half unfinished
Yeah.
right now, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
But you,
Thanks a
but
lot.
you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right? Cause then you could utilize bathrooms from both sides, the concession
I mean-
stand could be used from both sides, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I-
you're the one that has to work the magic,
I
but,
know.
She's
A
Um,
lot of things to work out here.
yeah, sorry.
Isn't it easier to work with one person or two? And you have like,
No, I like all the competing ideas,
Now,
because then
again,
something else new comes from it.
So square footage, what is that looking like right there, that box that's on that picture? I know originally I thought I saw 1,500, but,
It was 61 by 27. Who's got a calculator?
I'm not gonna do
You got
that.
it.
Well,
Do
is
that
it,
math.
doesn't it say right at the bottom, 1678 without entering?
Oh, I do, it's right here, I did
Yeah.
the math for you.
yeah.
1678,
So it's,
and if we cover that, then it's the
yeah.
2,000.
And cover, what would that be covered with? That- is
Oh,
that-
the roof might
Yeah,
overhang.
yeah.
Now, yeah, that's not gonna cost as much as the rest, but, you know, just looking at,
John didn't love that when I mentioned to him for you.
Not
He
being
likes,
covered.
he likes the breezeway. I think it's probably fair to say he likes that breezeway. It's just been there for so long. But I did mention this to him because there is an exit that exists right there, that they don't use. But,
The breezeway is a good control method,
Right,
in
right.
and out.
well, and I think you said
Well,
that there's certain,
It needs to be
re-
fenced, and it needs to be gated on, you know.
there's certain requirements now that we'd have to meet.
Yeah, you have to have a gate going in and a gate coming out, and so this is kind of. So the other thing to talk about is, you know, how you staff these. You know, is somebody in this room checking people in here, or is somebody
Yeah.
sitting out here checking people? Or is there a desk that wants to be out here that people go by? We used to do that a lot, where in the breezeway, there'd actually be like a desk in the middle and people go past it. But then it's like, well, we need to lock up that cash at the end of the day, you know, so then they're lugging things in and out of the office.
Yeah,
So a lot of cities have gone to this kind of a thing where it's
right.
probably a window here so you can see people and, but I don't know how you functionally, how you operate, how you think you're gonna.
I
Check-
like that.
Check-in and checking into the pool is an iPad. They have an iPad, they look them up on the iPad, they check them in. There's a cash register if they're purchasing,
Yeah,
you know, a pass for the day.
right,
So that's kind of how it works right now.
all right.
Yeah,
So having them in the
Yeah.
office and having someone walk up to them.
yeah,
works.
exactly, yeah.
Um,
Most of the time you walk in and say, hey, they know who you are and they check you in. Like you're not stopping.
What about lockers or cubbies or anything like that?
people are bringing those big, nice bags now, those rubber bags with everything in them.
Bog bags,
Bog
yeah.
bags.
They were saying
And
that.
they keep them with them, they don't.
They
need a
were
place
saying,
to-
John, if you don't mind quoting him, he didn't mind, by the way. He said there was no reason for lockers unless, I know Jason's idea of potentially having, you know, lab or teams and stuff like that coming. But from a pure what they do right now.
Right.
He said that it would be a waste of space. what
So,
you're saying.
and often what we do is we would do them out,
Maybe external.
like out here.
Right.
And they're just big enough, just once I put my purse, my cell phone,
Right.
or whatever in it.
Right,
Yeah.
And I can see it from the pool area. We very rarely do lockers in the restrooms anymore, we
Right.
do them out.
Yeah.
Unless it's a team facility or something like that.
Now,
I
in the
don't-
guard room, would they have somewhere, that was the one thing that he had asked
Yeah.
for, making sure that the lifeguards had. Right now, they throw their bags on a table. So I think having them, and when I say them, there's probably not more than, there's probably only
10 to 12.
there might be 5 at a
Yeah,
time.
5 at a time
We normally do lockers in the.
Yeah.
in the guard room.
Yeah,
Just something where they can have their stuff, because they are not allowed to have their phones on them.
Right.
No,
Say something.
you
You're gonna
said-
say something.
You said do lockers, so.
Oh, do locker, we do
Sorry,
lockers.
I'm-
Do lockers,
They're-
okay, yeah.
He has boys.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Boys,
so
that's
sorry.
fine.
Gotcha.
yeah.
What
You're
about,
That's on record.
what about security and how you operate and how you lock up? Do you have anything in the village that has key card access? Is that something that you want to be able to do here, or just regular standard locks? Do you need electrified anything? I know that's a detail, but I just like to get these things done.
Do you want to do probably what we have here, right? So we have like that key fob thing.
But,
It says no.
again, it's seasonal.
The quiet man in the back.
No, we can't afford key
Yeah.
fob tickets, we're getting keys.
I think the issue is you'd have to reissue them every single time, you'd have to reset them every single time, every time you have different lifeguards,
Can we-
because they come back the next year, they're never.
I mean, it's out in the cold, just, there's so
Chains and
many.
locks work great.
Chains and locks.
This
Wait,
one's big,
yeah,
Hear me out, what if we do like a number lock and we change the code?
Right,
And that's cheaper than having a fob.
right. But you can do it wirelessly, so you don't even have to be on site to do
And
it.
that could always change, right?
So-
for us, right?
Yeah, I feel like
We could have a locksmith come in and do things.
Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, we just need to know, we like to know in advance, if we need to get power to these doors, or we have access control, or how are you gonna operate?
I think the one thing, we've had some conversations around it, are some security cameras.
Yes, I was gonna ask that too.
Not necessarily
In
to,
the bathroom.
not to watch people in the pool necessarily, but for cash controls. And a little bit of parking lot safety, I'd say, even just to watch the pool at night, like,
I think the
right?
parking lot
Like,
is. a
I
great
think
idea.
we obviously don't want anyone to trespass it when the pool's closed or have any accidents there, so I think,
Maybe the outer perimeter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have had people sneak in the last year.
right,
yeah.
I know. But definitely, financials have been a concern of mine, I come from a retail environment, every cash drawer has a camera on it,
Yep,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Please stage more questions.
Please,
So she needs to
Keeps-
know.
keeps it
no,
moving.
she
I'm
needs to-
dying to see those two things right there.
so this is
The suspense is killing me.
design inspiration, okay?
Okay,
So this is just, what do you like, do you not like? This is mainly for her up there.
Yeah,
What we have here,
I told you it was killing me.
and this is the code for where these things come from.
Yes.
So some of these are houses, these are things right here from your, so
Yeah.
we've kind of got this mid-century modern that we were kind of looking for. So we've just got
Thank you.
some inspiration here on the kind of style that we think you were talking about. I don't know how everybody else feels. But, so we wanted to just put together kind of a bunch of these.
I gotta-
And,
What is
you've
the-
got those kind of funky,
Lines.
yeah, I'm sorry, my eye's drawn to
I
the
know.
second one from the top, what does that say, something use
This?
turn, yes,
just
study?
as entry roof line study, just a different way to, it doesn't say where it's from, but just a different way. to-
Yeah, there's
this
something
could
about
be-
that roof line that I
That breezeway,
like.
if it's at the end,
Yeah,
we could treat it like
I
this,
feel very,
Yeah.
and then later on.
what is
you
it,
add
Frank
on to
Lloyd
it.
Wright, is he the one that kind of built all that?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
I like
looks nice.
It looks beautiful, and I think it would actually be more cohesive. If you had that kind of roof line with an overhang like that, I think it would be, or like an awning, whatever you want to call it, I think it would be a lot more it would be a little bit easier maybe to connect it to something else. I think, so,
That,
I think it would be a functional solution, but also be aesthetic no matter
yeah,
if all hell breaks loose and we run out of money. I think it would still look finished.
that roof line study one is nice too.
They're all nice, and you can put solar
Bottom
panels on
center.
top and not look stupid too.
True,
And
yeah.
that's a big deal for me.
Are there more issues with it being, this is,
A flat roof is probably a little more maintenance wise. They
No,
tend to
that'd be
put,
slower, right?
it's, exactly, you
Right,
gotta have it
it's gotta
sloped
have
right,
that.
Yeah, they
yes.
all have a slope. Yeah,
Yes,
they all have a slope.
right.
You call it a flat roof, but it's actually a slope.
Yeah, they tend to puddle up, you get leaks and,
Not
yeah.
if you get a.
Right, no, you have to build it
it
right,
looks very
And hear me
non-slanted
out.
it is.
yeah.
I also, okay, I'm not an architect by any means, but I think something more mid-century would also be functional in that you can facilitate light coming through and still provide privacy for bathrooms.
Yeah.
Clear story windows.
Yeah.
That's a
So
big thing.
that's my vote, but that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, our bathrooms are so dark in there.
Yeah, right? It's
Oh,
like
gosh,
gross-
yeah.
Like natural light in a bathroom, I think really changes everything,
Yes.
but you can have, it's hard to have natural light in a bathroom and still provide privacy. And I think the only way that you can make that aesthetic and look intentional is if you go in a more mid-century direction. I thought a lot about this.
We need a charm castle right now.
Bathrooms are gonna go a long way
I
at
mean,
the pool. I mean, that's just, you go, the water's the water, right? You're gonna get wet, no matter what the pool looks like, you're gonna get wet in the water. But the bathrooms, I try to avoid them at all costs,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we wear like socks and shoes in there just
Yeah,
to avoid.
yeah.
Oh God, I wish
It's
my
a
kids
pinch
put
your
on-
nose, hold your breath
That's
kind
why I
of.
started wearing those platform clocks, 'cause
Yeah.
I was like, I want like 3 feet away from
Yeah,
me.
and when your roof doesn't go, when the walls don't go all the way to the roof, you know, there's not much privacy
Yeah.
when you're using the restroom.
So
That's
make sure
fine.
the walls go to the roof.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, please make sure.
Asking for a friend,
Yes.
yes.
Tommy's about to go ham on the bathroom.
Yeah,
So then there's kind of another level of finishes. There are options. They all have costs associated with them. So the most inexpensive thing is to just do concrete floors, sealed concrete floors.
That sounds great.
You can do a resinous flooring that's like a kind of a liquid epoxy. It actually has an integral base that you can put into it. It's easy to clean, looks a little bit nicer, costs a little more money. You could do tile, costs a little money, a little more maintenance on that. There's less maintenance on the resinous flooring. But again, I think there's lots of options for things, and then we can look at
Terrazzo.
the types
Yeah.
of toilet partitions and everything. But I think a lot of this is going to be
I think-
durability and budget.
Yeah, and I think you can get away with, honestly, if you go with mid-century, I think you can get away with cheaper materials looking intentional. Like, I think a concrete floor would look a little bit more intentional in a mid-century
Yeah.
situation as opposed to literally anything else. On the outside, how much more is, like, what if we do stucco? Is that, because that provides insulation a little bit.
Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of stuff.
I think the maintenance on it's the problem.
Is there a reason for that?
We'll look at materials for that.
Is there a reason for that? Like, it's too, we don't have artisans, it's too expensive, it's, because that, I think that would solve a lot of our issues. to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's maintenance-y.
I don't think it's the
And I don't think it
maintenance.
is. Stucco?
I don't see a lot of it there, you know, it was big for a while, then they came out with Drive It, which was a cheaper version of stucco, and then those are the ones that you can dent, you know, and it looks horrible.
Yeah.
I think we'll look at a
There was-
variety of materials.
There was quite a few lawsuits on it not being installed correctly with a couple different builders, and it just kind of went downhill from there.
But I think
It has to be installed correctly.
stucco can't be that expensive, but if we stucco it, I think it'll last a little bit longer, it'll be mid-century, it'll provide a little insulation, and I think it's way cheaper than stone. But it can still give you like some sort of, because you guys showed me that like pool house that you redid, and the outside was like stucco with like a bright,
It was
it stucco? What was it, painted?
It was concrete.
Concrete? Is that cheaper? One of those, because I like the look of that, like that very like mid-century linen, like a bright trim.
Yeah. We'll bring several options to you,
Yeah.
and what they look like, and what we think is appropriate, both for the style and for the durability and
Yeah,
all of
okay.
that. I think a glazed block or glazed brick kind of thing would be really nice, even if it's just some accents here and there.
Yeah.
So we'll play with that.
Inside, I think I'm okay with concrete.
So this roofing versus a pure city park aesthetic metal roof, is this more expensive?
No,
It's not, that's good.
but it looks
Metal's
good.
usually a little,
Metal roof is
a
expensive.
little bit more. We paid more for the roof
Yeah,
on
we
this than-
upgraded this.
Oh, so, okay, so what material is the roof of?
So normally, if this is a low slope roof, you can do like an EPDM or something. It's like if it was a flat roof, it's a membrane roof when it's that low slope.
But it
Does the
doesn't
metal
matter.
roof last longer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Here's
here's
the deal.
EPDM should last long too. You know, asphalt shingle is kind of the low end of it, but the grades of asphalt shingle too.
Gotcha.
So, we'll look at it.
But my thought is, what if we get grants to put solar panels on it? What does it matter if you have a metal roof, right? So, get a solar panel on it.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that, make sure we have the right thing for the right kind of attachments for solar panels, so we're
Yeah.
not
Destroy them.
voiding a warranty or anything like that.
Yeah, I looked into that too, yeah.
They, and just because I drive by it all the time, Athens, they actually put them in the parking lot and made shade, like covered parking.
Yeah.
And that's where they installed their solar panels.
Yeah, we do like
So,
little,
and they just added them, I think, last year.
What is, do you remember what Athens has as a roof?
It's metal. Yeah. They have kind of a funky
yeah.
multi-pitch levels, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Data center, we need a data center.
Oh, stop.
Just kidding.
A data center.
Just kidding.
Let's throw it in here while we
Just
can.
talked about it.
That's pretty cheap.
Let's, we'll put it over where the storage place is.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's land there.
Okay,
Somewhere.
are we being obnoxious? Like, where is this realistic?
Have we answered your questions?
I think so, I'm trying to, again, this was just, I mean, this is beyond kind of a kickoff meeting, this is a let's get as much out of you as we can, and I think we got quite a bit to go with here.
I think our bathrooms are fairly gross, and at some point I went in there and I was like, I wish I could just take a hose to this whole thing.
Oh, they take a hose to it.
You know what?
It's still not any better.
One thing I think about,
Yeah, I mean, they
I
dump
don't,
the stuff in there.
I don't know if this is a design element or if this is just me thinking, because I think of like, can you have a drain at the end of like the corner of the bathroom? Because the way they hose down the bathrooms,
Yeah.
It just
you know, can
stands.
you like just scrub it and then just
Yeah.
squeegee it towards the end?
City park
Because I just
aesthetic.
think
Wouldn't it be
It almost
slow?
lines up with the aesthetic of a one slope roof to have a one drain at a
Yeah.
backside, but it all drains towards, I don't know.
Right.
Don't they usually put it in the middle so it doesn't like accumulate?
I don't know why they put it in the middle.
So if you don't.
I don't
get-
know.
Because it's easier to
It's just-
slope.
it's sloping.
Right, instead of.
Yeah.
than it is.
And
Just
then
spray
you
it
don't
out,
get-
baby.
You don't get like a moldy corner.
Come on.
That's structural.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if the floor is sloped.
Does that
towards the
go-
drain, I don't know.
Does that go along with your rubberized floor you had mentioned, or the
Resinous.
resin, sorry, forgive me. Does it go along with that, like cleaning wise and all that?
Yeah.
Is it easier?
Yeah, but yeah, anything, you know, you'll be able to hose down, whatever, if we have, you know, block or glazed brick or something, whatever we do on the walls and the
I
concrete
guess slip
floors.
resistance is probably a
Yes.
consideration too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if tile is a little slipperier, but I don't know. I put in tile in my house and it was way slipperier than I intended.
Yeah, I thought it would be. Yeah, that's the thing with the, you know, with the concrete, it's just
It's
the
just, yeah.
roof
Right.
finish that they put on it, and
Right.
sometimes people are like, it's too rough on my feet, but, you know, rather than that, than have them slip. Okay, I think this was, I have other questions that are way too detailed that we're not gonna get into, I don't wanna get into right now, because we need to stay big picture. But I think we got a lot of stuff to work on, and some options to put in front of you, and I wanna bring back, you know, several options, so that we can look at them and get the cost implications.
I guess my only other shape that it's probably more expensive, but what if we do it breezeway? What if we put it out this way in an L shape? And then you have all this space here, you have common space here, and then, like, this is the bathroom part, breezeway, like that, but then we push it out that way. Because then you have like a lawn between the pool. Instead of a square, we do,
Something like that and something like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And push it out to the edge of the property.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or it could be that way, actually. Yeah, and then that way you have a common space that's away from the pool.
Or, you know, I'm also thinking, depending on, and I want to take a look at what might happen in the future, because, you know, yes, this needs to work today because of what you have here, but with all this extra space here, this could be great lawn space to go with the event center. You know, if the event center's here, your property line's here, you're kind of tight, but there's more space over here if we kind of think, well, maybe the future expansion is over here on this side, and your pool is a little differently configured, and then you have some other.
I think our baby pool is untouchable, and that
Yeah.
one's, so we can't move
In the
that.
future?
Yeah.
That
can't
pool's
move that.
only 2 to 3 years old,
Yeah,
roughly.
so that
3 years
baby
old.
pool's staying, so we
You
don't
spent
have a
more
lot of
time
real
than
estate
Actually,
facing the parking lot.
Sorry.
So,
Too easy.
yes, but we would
Tiffany,
have
too
to
easy.
push it back, so then you won't have as much frontage to the parking lot.
Okay, well, that's good to know, see, that's what I need to know.
Yeah.
That's a non-negotiable.
It has, yeah, we have grant money for it, we
Yeah.
can't. So,
Okay.
that's why we gotta go that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's.
But I think that's our best way to maximize our space probably.
Oh, you drew it up there, yeah.
But you could also, even if we did something like this,
Yeah.
the new pool could happen over
Yeah,
here,
push it back
and you
that
could
way.
still recapture a
Right.
lot of that space.
Yeah, so that probably makes the most sense, to be honest.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff to play with,
Mhm.
and I don't know what
It's-
time it is, but
it's
hopefully I
8:45.
didn't take too much of your
It's time
time.
for bed.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
You're
if
good.
we're out
You're good.
before,
Thank you for doing this, because
Yeah.
I was already down here, so
Yeah.
this really
oh,
helped
sure,
me,
yeah.
helped me out a lot, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Do you
Thank
have any
you.
other
Yeah.
questions for us?
Not right now,
Okay.
we will, next time,
Okay.
so we'll go
Can-
ahead and.
Can we, at one point, though, give you an idea what the pool's gonna look like? Cause if it's gonna expand or not. I know, or how we're gonna change the pool itself, cause we talked a lot about that entertainment center. We didn't talk anything about really what that pool's gonna look like.
Well, unfortunately,
Budget problem.
right,
Jeff?
they're only
I
working on.
didn't wanna hear that, I get it. but
I think a
I-
great question to think about is on some of the examples of the pool that we had that were like a 23-25% increase in water. What correlates to bathroom need for us to make
Yeah.
sure that
Right.
if we
Right.
wanted 25% of the
Right.
pool,
Yeah,
would
we'll
we need an
calculate
extra
that.
stall? Yeah, just
Yeah.
something to.
And again,
pay
I
attention
would like to, we have these, you know, options that we've already developed,
Right,
but we might just throw, as we're developing this, we might throw some other options at you. Because I know, Jeff, you and I have talked about, you know, is there any of that existing shell that we can reuse
Right.
and expand, and we've done that a ton of times. So, you know, anything that can help us look towards the future a little bit and still be efficient in our design of that bathhouse, that's our task. But again, I hate, you don't wanna go into it like this,
Right.
you wanna go into it like this, and then
Right.
you figure out what that
Right.
Hone in on this part, yeah. So that's probably our next step, is to
Okay.
figure out what we want for pool.
On the sign-in sheet. All right, thank you very much.
Thank
you're
you.
welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll work with Jeff to set up our next meeting.
Sweet.
all right, good to adjourn?
Yep.
All right.